Cool. So let's look at the grade 8 technical exercises for the RSL awards. And let's start with the scales. So we've got the whole tone scale, the diminished scale, and the altered scale. And what you have to do is be able to play all of these scales between G, and B. So that's like, so anywhere along there. And then also do the same thing but on the A string, but between C and E. So we've got, starting off with the whole tone scale. It's quite an easy one to grasp, so you just got to make sure that you're going up a tone. So if we start from G on the 3rd fret of low E, and going up a tone from there is always 2 frets. But then when you go up a string, so instead of going along a string, you then just got to remember to go up a tritone, and that's basically the pattern. So you got, and you can go all the way up. But in the grade 8 technical exercises, what you have to do is only go up to the 2nd octave, I believe. So you got. So let's have a look at that again. That's it. Yeah, I messed up there. So we got 3, 5, 7. Basically the one that's written out in the book. So you've only got to go up to the 2nd octave. And then back down. So maybe let me just switch over to the close-up. So we're going. And then back down. Cool. So you've just got to, once you learn the pattern, it's just being able to play it anywhere between the 3rd and the 7th fret, but just understanding if you get asked to play in a certain key, you know where that is. So for example, if somebody said you need to play it in B flat, know where your B flat is on the E, and that's where you play it from. Ooh, sorry. So maybe just like once you get the pattern, just think of a key. So just say to yourself, all right, I'm going to play in A today. And start from there. So when you play it on the A string, it's more or less the same concept. It's just we're going all the way to the high E string this time because we've got to go up the 2 octaves. So we got. Oh. So what thing to watch out for on the B string is that because of the tuning between the G and the B, it's in thirds rather than fourths like the rest of them. You've got to just make sure that you jump up 2 frets rather than 1 fret, because a tritone between the G and the B string is no longer that. It's so you got. So again, once you know the pattern, just test yourself. So you've got to be able to play it from there, from the 3rd and 7th fret on the A string, which is between C and E. So any note between that. So you'd be like, right, I'm going to practice it in D flat today. Oops. It's cool. It's a cool scale. I recommend once you get used to it, maybe play around with it. And see whether you can come up with any creative ideas. So that's the whole tone scale. The next one's the diminished scale. So yeah, there's 2 types of diminished scales. There's the half whole and the whole half, but this doesn't tell you which one it is. This one in particular is half whole. So what that means is it starts with a half tone or semitone, and then it has a whole tone, and then it's a reoccurring pattern. So half, whole, half, whole, going to learn it a bit more like a scale, so going up again across 2 octaves. So you got, and again just the same, you have to play it anywhere between G and B. So anywhere across there depends what they ask you to do. So, you know, if you, again, just test yourself. So, you know, all right, I'm going to do B diminished today. And this scale would obviously work over a fully diminished chord. But yeah, it's quite a cool scale to play around with again. So just you know, see if you can come up with some riffs and some licks. And then we've got the rooted on the A string, so same sort of thing as the last scale, anywhere between C and E on the A string. And yeah, again, just watch out for the B string. So, you know, patterns written out in the book, but that's, yeah, I'm just demonstrating these so you know exactly what to do. Yeah, again, just watch out for the B string because you've got to jump up 2 frets rather than 1. So these are quite cool, like the whole tone scale jumps up a tritone, but so does the diminished scale when you cross over the strings. So yeah, cool little pattern. And then last scale in grade 8 is the altered scale. So yeah, so this is a mode of melodic minor, but we won't go into that just yet. So what you've got here is a bit of an odd one. Sounds quite interesting. Oh, got something wrong there. So just like the others, practice the shape and then try and change key. So the same between G and B again. So, you know, if you were doing A altered, it would be like this. Oh. I'll do that again. Cool. And then again, you've got to do it across the A string, anywhere between C and E, so between the 3rd and the 7th fret. So we've got on the A string version. So very similar, but just because of the B string, it's slightly different shape. So that's basically the same as what we just played, but moved down a string. But then you've got to shift up 1 fret because of the B. Sorry. So again, play around with the scale once you get to know it. Test yourself, playing it in different places, and so on. So yeah, that's the 3 scales. So let's have a look at the arpeggios for this grade. So we've got some interesting arpeggios as well. So we've got a G dominant 7 sharp 5. So, or a dominant 7 sharp 5. So just like a normal dominant chord would be a dominant arpeggio would be. So that would be root, major 3rd, pentatonic 5th, flat 7, and then you're back to the root. So all you got to think is take the 5 and sharpen it, which kind of ties in with the whole tone scale. So if you have this chord Um, works really well. The whole tone scale works really well over that. So they kind of tied it in with that. Again, it's between G and B, so you just have to be able to go across any of those. Oops, I turned my tune on. Yeah, and that's it. And then you've got the same arpeggio rooted on the A string, so which is actually exactly the same. So it's just the same shape moved down a string. Because it's only across 3 strings, so there's no messing around with the B string there. So, you know, practice, you know, you could sort of go. Maybe then switch string. But yeah, I think you get the gist with that. And then the next arpeggio is dominant 7 flat 5. Oh, wrong strings. So it's like that. Also known as a dominant 7 sharp 4, depending on the context. So this time you've got to think about flattening the 5th rather than sharpening. So again, it's a dominant 7 chord, but this time we've got flat 5. So to be fair, the whole tone scale would work quite well over this as well. So with the diminished scale. So yeah, so you got the lots of tension chords here. So you know the purpose of these, they sound pretty tense and sometimes horrific if you stay on them for ages, because they always want to resolve. So you know, like wants to resolve to some sort of chord. Or even the sharp one. So there's the dominant 7 flat 5. You know, if you know what a dominant 7 arpeggio is, it's root, major 3rd, perfect 5th, minor 7, and then you just have to take the name. So this one's a dominant 7 with flat 5, so you just have to take the perfect 5th and flatten it. So again, just being able to play it between G and B on the low E string, so frets 3 and 7, and then the same thing on the A, which is frets between frets 3 and 7 on the A, which is C and E. Okay, so then the last arpeggio, I believe. No, it's not the last arpeggio. There's some more. Is a minor 7 flat 5. So take the name minor 7, which is root, minor 3rd, perfect 5th, flat 7. But this time we're adding a flat 5, so or changing the perfect 5th to a flat 5. So you know, just follow the name. So if you had a minor 7 arpeggio, you'd have root, flat 3rd, perfect 5th, minor 7, root. Whereas, so just flatten the 5th. It's a very cool arpeggio. So again, play around, try and come up with riffs with these and use them when soloing and stuff. And then it's just again the same thing. And then also it's exactly the same, just move it down the string. So again, a tension chord. So, you know, there you go. That's the minor 7 flat 5, and then you've got the lot. I think this is the last one. Let me double check. No, it isn't. There's loads of arpeggios in this. Okay, cool. Let me just double check. Okay, there's loads. So then we've got back to dominant 7, sharp 9. So this is going to have a let me just see how they've written it out. So interesting. So they've tried to go for like sort of 4 notes, 1 2 3 4, sorry, 1 2 3 4 5. So yeah, this one again, it's just like a dominant 7, so root, 3rd, 5th, 7th, but instead of going to the root this time, we're gonna add the sharp 9, which is sharp 9 is the same thing as the minor 3rd, but it's called a sharp 9 because the arpeggio's already got a major 3rd in it, so you can't have 2 types of 3rds. So you got again, same thing, just moving it about. Move it down the string. You have to watch out for the B string here. Let me just check that's what the so there's the sharp 9. Now you know the sharp 9, flat 9 goes. So you just go 1 fret past the root note here. So same sort of thing, just being able to move it about between those notes that we talked about, between G and B on the E and C and E on the A. And the last one is the diminished arpeggio. So this can sound quite cool, but it's just this is just straight up diminished. So it's root, minor 3rd, flat 5th, straight back to the root. So again, moving it around, move it to the A string and between those notes, and that's all of the arpeggios. So so you've got the whole tone scale. Being able to play it from the E string, but also the A. Diminished scale. Doing it from the E string and the A. But from different frets. And then you got the altered scale. From the E and also the A. Then you got the arpeggios, so let me just go back to the list because we've been through so many of them. Here we go. So you've got the dominant 7 sharp 5. dominant 7 flat 5. You got the minor 7 flat 5. Then you got the dominant 7 sharp 9. And then you got the dominant 7 flat 9. And the last one, the diminished. Cool, so there is all the arpeggios and scales for from the grade 8, the RSL or Rock School grade 8 book. Yeah, hope that helped, and I'll see you soon.